I did a weekly update probably 3 months ago where I was outside of my float tank spot. Now, I normally go to what was called Urban Float, and I would float every week. And by floating, it's a sensory deprivation chamber where you basically float on water. You don't see anything, hear anything, touch anything for a full hour. You're just like, your mind just gets into it. Well, my float tank place closed, and I've sent so many people floating because it's done so much for me. And when I was in my last float on the last day on October 31st, when they were shutting down, I sat there and I went, I'm so thankful that I had this opportunity. I had gratitude for all of the times I was able to go in there and just get things out of my head and just get my focus back. And it's interesting because I would have normally handled that like, I'm so mad they're closing. Like, I would have really focused on that. And instead I focused on gratitude. Like, let's just be happy with what we had, right? I watched a really amazing podcast on Mourning recently, Mourning. And what it taught me is it's not just okay to mourn, it's necessary to mourn. When something's gone and something's missed, to not mourn it is to disrespect everything that it brought to you in its experience with you. So it's interesting as we go through times where everything used to be so much easier, right? If you're in a period in your life or work where things used to be a lot easier and now you're pretty frustrated because it's not as easy as it used to be, that's a good sign that you need to take a second and mourn the loss of what once was and spend some time being grateful that you had that opportunity, that you had that thing in your life that's no longer there. And I promise you, when you spend more time in gratitude that you had it, it will allow you to let it go and then move into whatever life has for you next. And so I know it's been a struggle for a lot of my friends out there, especially those in the mortgage and real estate field, but take a second and go, yeah, that was pretty cool. We had a really good run. 2020 and 2021 were amazing gifts. And I'm going to mourn that because life was a lot easier. I worked really hard, but it was a lot easier. I'm going to mourn that. And now I'm going to turn around and just go. And I'm going to work really hard. And I think if you can do that, you can detach yourself from what once was. You can detach yourself from feelings of guilt that you're not as good as you once were. And you can start going, no, that was pretty awesome. And now let's become who I'm supposed to be. So my challenge for you this week is to mourn the loss of something so that you can move forward into a new reality.